So you're here looking for a USB-C hub / docking station for your content creation, your video editing, perhaps maybe even gaming. That's right. Not just a docking station that can do all that, but something that is powerful enough to push out 4K 60, but also looking for something that transfers data at a pretty fast rate. Then you might be looking for this 9-in-1 USB-C hub / NVMe expansion bay, right? You can actually expand your M.2 drive to this particular docking station to expand your storage at high speeds. That's right. It does support NVMEs, and I believe there's about 4 sizes it supports. So there's a lot of versatility with this device, and it is a powerhouse pushing out 4K 60 and high transfer speeds. That's right. You get a nice 10 gigabits worth of transfer rates. Let's take a look at this. This thing looks pretty promising, and it's super thin and low profile. So let's go ahead and look at what comes in the box right now. And this is the device you get in your Amazon package and your mailbox when it comes to you delivered. What comes packed in here is something that may be special. Now, let's just go ahead and open it right now. I would presume that you don't get too much in this box. This is just a docking station / expansion station. So the way you open it is you slide it out just like that, and you can toss that to the side because you don't need the shield. And it kind of, for all intents and purposes, looks like an iPhone case. Your device as such, it's the first thing on top. So we're just gonna take it out of its sleeve and take a, ooh, this is cold. Wow, that is icy cold. Is it cold down here? I don't know why this thing is so cold. Let's see the size of this thing. This is the iPhone, and this is the actual enclosure here, docking station, USB-C hub. And it's probably the size of an iPhone Pro and not the Pro Max. So pretty small in size for what it can do, right? This thing is sure to be a powerhouse. Just looking at some of the specs. Looking at the hardware, obviously it's cold, so it is all complete metal. So this will actually do some great heat dissipation because of its metallic aluminum constructions. And the texture on it is, I wouldn't say is necessarily like that of a MacBook or any Apple products, but it's pretty close as it has some kind of grain, and it is definitely not a fingerprint magnet because I am here just like touching this thing all over and you don't see any fingerprints whatsoever. Maybe if I ate like fried chicken and just start eating it. What? Eating this too? All right. And I do like the fact that it has these rounded corners, which is awesome, easy to the grip. And let's not even talk about like the color of this thing. This thing is just 2 or 3 shades darker than space gray. It's kind of a little bit of a dark gray. So what are the ports on this device we have here? I see them going all around the device here. So, all right, let's start with the first long side. We have a micro SD card slot along with your standard SD card slot. Looks like we have a 2.0 USB-A port right next to that. And we have a, wow, that is pretty small. I think my eyes are failing me. I can't read that tiny thing. Gonna use my iPhone as a magnifying glass. Looks like that 3.0 port is actually a 3.1 port. So you're gonna get about 10 gigabits of speed going through that port. And the same goes for the USB-C port right next to it. So right off the rip on the front, we have 2 3.1 USB ports that do 10 gigabits. Along the bottom of the device, you also have another USB 2.0 port. So that USB-C port you're looking at there, Techers and Gamers, is in fact for connecting to your devices, such as your laptop. And on the other side, we have another USB-C port, which is for power delivery, which also sits right next to your awesome HDMI port that can do 4K 60. And that's kind of what we want in this day and age. We need these high powered, fast data transfer rates ports, right? Because otherwise you're just working with devices from the early 2000s. What? Also in the box, you get this little hole, I guess, here to put your finger in and pull out this excess piece of cardboard. And underneath, you're going to get something there. I don't know what it is. I haven't touched it yet. You get a leather feeling, pleather travel pouch. Wow, this thing feels pretty thick for your little cooling gum that you put on your SSD. Why is that so thick? Is that even gonna fit inside the enclosure? I'm thinking it's two on top of each other. Let's take a look. All right, so this is the actual, look at this. Look at this thermal tape. Is it me or is that thermal tape a little on the thick side? Little quick start guide to tell you some of the specs of the device and how to install your M.2 drives and which M.2 drives it supports there. So just make sure you got the right type of M.2 drive. On Amazon, we see it is in fact the Gewokliy USB-C hub. Supports 4K 60, 10 gigabit USB-A and USB-C port. Fantastical with 100-watt power. As promised, Windows 7, 8, 10, 11, and Mac OS. So you get some good support with this. But if we scroll down a little bit and let's take a look at some of the product details. So yes, this does do 110 gigabits, 10 gigabits again with this USB-C port. The M.2 SSD slot transfer speed is also 10 gigabits, which is fantastic. With 10 gigabits, you get about 1250 megabytes per second, right? 1250 megabytes per second is what the rated speed is at this 10 gigabits. Again, I don't expect to get that number. Maybe I'll get 1,000. I'm hoping I get that. Let's see. If we get 1,000, I'm happy with the device. Okay, so the SD card slot transfer rate is 5 gigabits. So that's actually pretty good, Tech Easy Gamers. I do like myself a nice little high-speed transfer. As a content creator, you always want those SD card slots, at least if you're using DSLR cameras and SD cards, to be relatively quick. That's cool. They include a recommended M.2 NVMe SSD list here on their product page on Amazon. So I do have quite a couple of these. I do have SK Hynix. I do have a Crucial. Okay, so we're going to be testing today with the Crucial P5, which does about 5,000, 6,000 megabytes per second. So it's a bit of overkill for what this dock can do, but we should see at least 1,000 megabytes. I hope. We're going to see. All right, and with that said, let's get this plugged into my MacBook. I have an M.1 MacBook Pro here, and we're going to test the data transfer rates first and foremost, because that's kind of what we use these USB-C hubs mostly. And then we'll see what 4K 60 looks like. I don't doubt that this does not do 4K 60, but I do want to see what the delay looks like when you're projecting to a monitor. Sometimes you get a little small of a millisecond. Sometimes you get an entire second. So let's go ahead and get this guy plugged in. Let's do it. Snap, because snapping is the wave. What? So before we plug this guy in, how do you open it? Right? There's no tools. It seems pretty sealed all the way around. So how do you open it and get to the internals? So the lid is magnetic. So since it's magnetic, you can literally just kind of just grab it and pull the top off. And these are the internals, and that's the USB-C to USB-C cable that comes with it. Very short, but looks very thick and durable. And of course your NVMe slot there, and that's it. And once you're done, it magnetically seals. All right, so, and we're just going to insert our NVMe drive. Why not? Because how else are we going to test it? We're going to utilize the Crucial P5 Plus, which boasts about 5,000 or 6,000 megabytes per second. I believe it's 6,000, because it is a 4.0 NVMe, and you're really only going to see those 6,000 megabytes when you plug it into a 4.0 PCIe port somewhere on a motherboard. That's right. This should be super simple to set up. You basically slide in your NVMe like that. I can't do it like this because I can't see, but you click it down and you screw it on. So we're gonna have to take off these little thumb screws. Yes, you can do it with your fingers. No tools necessarily needed. Slide in your SSD like that at an angle, and then when you press it down, you will screw on this little guy that comes with it. I'm not going to use the thermal tape because I'm just going to do some minor testing here. I will let you know that the thermal tape does in fact fit. So be sure that your SSD is super flat, that there are no built-in or built-on thermal tape or any kind of heat dissipation mechanism, because then it makes your SSD thicker and the thermal tape here won't fit. And if that's the case, you probably don't even need the thermal tape because it already has its. Here we are on my Mac desktop, and we are going to go ahead and plug in our 9-in-1 USB-C hub docking station / NVMe SSD enclosure. Plugged in, and we get this pop-up right here in our face. To allow the accessory comes in as a VIA Labs USB-C 2.0 hub. I don't know why the Mac is reading it like that. Click allow, and that's it. And plugging it in, you will see here on the desktop that there is the NVMe Crucial drive. That's right. And if we double click that, we should have ourselves a nice 500 gig NVMe drive. What are the transfer rates now? Now we should be getting 10 gigabits. Again, 10 gigabits is 1,250 megabytes per second. So we're going to see what happens, right? So let's go ahead and open up our Blackmagic speed disk tester, and we're going to see what we get now. Let's go ahead and point Blackmagic to our drive. We're going to do let's do 3 gigs, right? Now let's point it to our Crucial drive here, which is fine. Open it up. There's literally nothing on it. And we're going to get the testing. Set it off. Let's see what we get. All right, let's give it a little warm-up run. See if we can get something pretty decent here. So, techies and gamers, looks like we are not going to hit the 900 or 1,000 megabytes per second. Again, typical of any of these external docking stations, USB-C hubs, you never really get the rated speeds of what the ports themselves can actually do. Well, let's go ahead and check out what the SD card slot can do. All right, so here we have ourselves a pretty decent SanDisk SD cards, 150 megabytes per second. So it's not too shabby of a SD card slot. What? SD card. Let's go ahead and point our Blackmagic tool over to that SD card, and we're gonna go into where the camera goes, and that should do the trick. And we're gonna start and see what we get. Here we go. Oh, wait a minute, techies and gamers. I am feeling a little bit of impressiveness here, right? I'm feeling a little impressed. We're getting 82 megabytes on the actual write speed, and it's at 5 gigs. My lord, let's stop that. It's too much. Actually, impressive. Yes, it is. I'll tell you why in a second, but let's see what the read is. And on the read, can we push about 90? Let's see, 88, 89. We can get close to 90, 88, 89 is about 90. So that's fantastic. So let's talk about why I'm impressed with this speed. So the reason I'm impressed with this speed is because just about every USB-C hub and docking station I've tested with with an SD card slot that supports that and boasts 5 gigabits, 1 gigabit, whatever, it boasts over 100 megabytes per second. I've never gotten past about 45 megabytes, at least on the write speed. So about 45 was the max on write. And on read, I was able to get about 80, 85 megabytes on the read. So coming in at about equal on both 80 to 89 write read. That's impressive. Okay. Now I have this folder here, which is about 4.5 gigs of data, and I'm going to go ahead and transfer it from my Mac to our Crucial NVMe that is inside of our little docking station USB-C hub / SSD enclosure / we're going to drop it in, click it, and see how fast that actually moves. And we can see through the image there, or over here on the left, that it transferred 4.45 gigs within a few seconds. Yes, so this is actually nice. All right, Techie and Gaming fam. So what's my overall take about this particular USB-C 9-in-1 USB-C hub / docking station / external NVMe enclosure? All in one. This is a nice package. Very nice physical hardware construction. Ease of use. You can thumbnail screw the NVMe into the enclosure with your fingers. You can close the lid easily and open it because it's a magnetic lid. Fantastic. I do like that feature. I like the metal construction for easy heat dissipation. Very thin aluminum. nice textured cover, right? Nice dark gray color. So very easy to use. You plug and play. Yes, just allow the accessory on the Mac and you're ready to rock and roll. Monitor extension to your 4K monitor at 60 Hertz. Easy breezy. It took me a little bit of fiddling because my 4K monitor was actually my 4K TV, so I had to make sure that I put it in the right port that supports the high refresh rate at 4K 60, because not all of them do them. Some ports on my TV do 4K 30. Transfer rates, pretty decent as well. I never ever expect to get the rated 10 gigabit transfer rates on any of these USB-C docks, anywhere between 800 to 900 and some change, never reaching that 1,000 mark. So just be mindful that that's the expectation with just about most of the docking stations that I reviewed on my channel, and I've done quite a few. Otherwise, other than that, pretty solid product. For $70, you can find this on Amazon. Check the link in the description. Thank you, Gewokliy, for providing this sample unit to share with all of you out there in the tech and gaming world looking to do some content creation with a relatively powerful device and to take it with you on the go and to expand your storage. So I think this is pretty good to get the job done and pretty robust. Check out this link right here. This video, am I pointing right? This video gets you some very powerful 4K dual screen extension capability and processing. So yeah, and with that, I'll see you in the next life. What? This is the next life. My second life. What?